ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे च जनकात्मजा पुरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनम्। So nice to be with all of you after almost 2 weeks of not getting all of your association. So I'm thrilled to be with you. Welcome back. We came up to the point along with Sri Ramachandra, Lakshmana, Sugriva, Hanuman, Jambavan, Angada, etc. all the way across the ocean at the foot of Mount Suvela, waiting to take a glimpse of that mighty city called Lanka. The armies of Ramachandra are eager, they're ready, they're roaring, they're thumping the ground. They are ready for war, whatever is coming up. At this time, Sri Ramachandra sees a whole range of omens, bad omens, and he's concerned. He's concerned and he speaks to Lakshmana about all these omens. But in a heart of heart, he's missing Sita Devi. Before embarking on any big event, someone may have a little doubt. Is it even possible for me to do? Nobody relies, a wise person never relies on their own strength to get anything accomplished. Because however capable a person is, without grace, a person cannot accomplish anything. And with grace, anything that is impossible becomes possible. So at this juncture, after seeing all the omens and whether or not they will be able to see Sita, they also saw uh, good signs. And Lakshmana, who always is there for Sri Ramachandra to pacify him, to, to inspire him, after he speaks, showing him such a wonderful army that he has, loving friends like Sugriva, now Vibhishana, and they've all joined Sri Ramachandra. Ramachandra, who's speaking all of these signs that are there. Sorry, Lakshmana doesn't speak, he's just speaking. Then he takes stock of who all are with him. He says, oh, I have Vibhishana, I have Sugriva, and all the jewel-like monkeys who have so much strength and power. And they're all waiting to uh, do my bidding. So Valmiki ends the chapter with saying, Raghavasya priyartham tu sutaram, uh, Viryashalinam, Harinam, Karmacheshta Tustu, Karmacheshta Bhistutoshaha, Raghunandanaha. Ramachandra became Tutosha, happy, satisfied that all of them have assembled here to fulfill his desire. His desire is to bring Sita Devi back, to unite with Sita Devi. When accomplishing or trying to accomplish some task, one should know that one, it's impossible to do on one's own. Second, that they are trusting and loving people who will help attain one's goal. Then Ramachandra took stock of his army, and it seemed so vast. The entire army looked like a night of Sharad, autumn night, filled with stars. Each Vanara was like a star. And the king of that sky, Sugriva, appeared like the moon. And under Sugriva's order were thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, hundreds of billions of Vanaras waiting just for the order, that war cry to say, go for it. Meanwhile, while all these monkeys are clamoring and roaring, in Lanka, the Rakshasas started to hit and play the kettle drums because war is about to begin. So it's like a signal to start the war. So as they are beating their drums, the Vanaras are hearing. And as they are hearing, they are becoming even more excited, enthused, ready, and they are roaring so loudly. And they're all looking at Lanka dressed up in such opulence of gold and jewels everywhere and flags, different colors of flags. Then in his mind, Sri Ramachandra uh, saw Sita, if you will. His mind went to Sita. Jagama manasa Sitam duyamanena chetasa. Duyamanena wanted to, his mind is afflicted, it's full of pain. So before taking up the task, it's important, as we spoke last week, it's important to have a strong intention and to be clear of the goal that you want to achieve. That was Hemangi's presentation. Without a clear goal, the goal is to unite with Sita Devi. The intention is to take on Ravana, the most formidable enemy that nobody in the universe has ever been able to take off. Ramachandra and his Vanara monkey. One may say they have no strength to fight against. But there is this resolve that I am going to take it on. So that was the Sankalpa. They're all there. And they have the signs that the, the, the demigods and the rest of nature is willing to help. The signs are important. So Ramachandra said, oh, on that side is this lady, my consort, who has the eyes like that of a deer. Unfortunately, has been captured by Ravana, who's like Mars, and Mars has eclipsed the constellation Rohini. Graheneva Lohitangena Rohini, as if Mars has covered or eclipsed Rohini. And Rohini is the consort of Chandra. Chandra always likes Rohini. So Ramachandra, his consort Rohini, has been, their joy has been interrupted by this reddish planet called Ravana. So with sad sigh, gazing at Lakshmana, Ramachandra spoke. He said, "Oh, Lakshmana, just look at this Lanka. It has been made by Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigods. The buildings are so tall as if they are scraping the sky. So that's why we got the word skyscraper. Each building is so opulent, and within these are the Vimanas. Vimanas in the Gita press is translated as seven-story buildings. And it is so beautiful, and it's covered with white clouds everywhere as if you have entered heaven. And wherever you look, there are such blossoming gardens and parks. It looks just like Chitraratha, the garden of Kubera, which, by the way, was Chitraratha's or Kubera's garden that was usurped by Ravana. And the place is filled with trees and shrubs full of fruits and flowers. And every place, the palaces are filled with songs of birds and people singing and of birds of all types of varieties. Oh, Lakshmana, the breezes that are wafting through Lanka are shaking or moving the branches of the trees. And the birds are remaining hidden within the trees. So, Lakshmana, we are camped here and we are following the rules of war, of how we need to go. So, Ramachandra then now turned to Sugriva and gave some marching orders. He said, Angada and Neela, they should be, the entire army was formed like the shape of a human being. Somehow it was shaped like that. And Ramachandra said, Angada and Neela should be at the bosom or where the heart is. These two will stand there and from there guide and direct the army. Now, Rishabha, who's this mighty Vanara, he should be on the right wing of the army. Gandhamadana should be on the left side, left wing, because Gandhamadana is as powerful as an elephant in rut. When an elephant is in rut, means it's mating season, it becomes stronger because it is very determined. And a very interesting fluid starts to flow out of the temples of the elephant, signaling that he is ready. He's ready for a female companion. And so his virility and his strength increase like anything. So Gandhamadana should be flanking the army on the left. Ramachandra said, Lakshmana and I will be at the head of this army. Jambavan and Sushena, as well as Vegadarshi, another mighty. So these three will protect the belly, that region. So right below, so behind Angada and Neela. And Sugriva will protect on that part of the army which shaped like the hips of the human being. So once he gave this order, all the monkeys became excited and they started taking their positions. And they just didn't stand there. They grabbed mountain peaks and massive trees with them. And they were ready. And they were shouting the words of confidence. Let's go. Let's completely crash Lanka. Let's pulverize it to smooth powder. Let's just break everything. So Ramachandra looked at Sugriva and said, Your entire army has been very well organized. At this time, you remember one of Ravana's spies by the name Shuka, who the monkeys had captured, although not killed. They were ready to kill, and Ramachandra said, No, don't kill him. So they brought Shuka with themselves. At this time, Ramachandra said, Release Shuka, let him go. Suddenly, Shuka, when he was released, flew up and flapped his wings strongly and quickly went to meet Ravana. So there, Ravana looked at Shuka's condition. His wings were all distorted, some feathers were clipped. He was completely out of shape. So Ravana laughed at him. Ravana prahasanneva shukam vakyam uvachaha kim imetau te kshitau pakshau lunapakshascha drishyase. How is it? He started laughing at Shuka. What is your condition? The way you went and the way you've come back? Looks like your wings have been clipped. It's been tied up together. You're a complete mess. How is it possible? What happened? I hope you didn't fall into some uh, cluster of monkeys and then they smashed you. Let me know what happened. I'm curious to hear. So Shuka said, "Oh, Ravana, just the way you ordered, I flew up to Ramachandra's army. I was hovering in the sky and I gave them your message exactly the way you asked me to give them your message. But while I was speaking and giving the message, the monkeys who saw me jumped up into the sky, caught me, and started punching me with their fists, kicking me and tied my wings and clipped my feathers. And they were ready to kill me. But Ramachandra came to my rescue. Luckily, Ramachandra, who was with Sugriva, and this Ramachandra, who's the killer of Vali and Viradha, Kabandha, Khara, etc., he came to my rescue. So the point here is Ramachandra can kill any Rakshasa, but if someone is helpless, he doesn't hurt anyone. So then these monkeys, along with Ramachandra, bridged the entire ocean and showed up right here on the shores of this mighty kingdom. And how many? They have thousands and thousands and billions of monkeys and bears. They look like massive mountains. In fact, monsoon clouds, there's so much. You can't tell one monkey from the apart. They look like one big mass. At this point, Ravana, there is no way you can make any alliance. You cannot say, oh, it seems like the only option you have here is that there is war waiting at your front door. And this was a mistake of Ravana. Ravana never estimated that ordinary human beings like Rama and Lakshmana and even more insignificant army of monkeys can ever build a bridge. He was so absorbed in his own might that he didn't notice or didn't fully realize that they could actually make a bridge and come over. So Shuka is saying, before they come knocking on your massive fort's doors, I think the best thing to do is please give Sita back to Ravana. Sitam Pradiyatam. So you have only two options. You either fight a battle or you avoid the whole battle by giving Sita away. And Ravana heard these words. He became angry. His eyes became bloodshot red with anger. I will not give back Sita. Even if the Gandharvas or the demons, the Danavas, or anybody will come, I will never give Sita back. In fact, when I shoot my powerful arrows, mounting them on my invincible bow, the speed with which these arrows will go will be like intoxicated bees that are rushing towards a flowering tree. My arrows full of flames. When they are discharged from my bow, Rama's body will be fully pierced with my arrows. His body will be stained in blood, just like how the elephant rider will goad with his, it's called Ankusha, will goad the elephant and bleed him if required. My army is so big. When they face off with Ramachandra's army, it'll be like we are eclipsing them. He has no idea what my strength is. He has never, ever stood in front of me to fight a battle. The reality is, Ravana did not stand in front of Ramachandra for a battle. He played a very dirty trick. He didn't have the guts to stand in front of Ramachandra, but today he's speaking that Ramachandra has no guts to stand in front of me. In fact, my bow is so exquisite that it's like a veena. On this veena, I can play some notes that are soft, some notes that are medium, and some notes that are high toned. So some arrows will go and hit him in a certain mild way, some will pierce him, and some will pierce through him. That is the, and it'll make music. It'll be like music for me. So there is no way I am going to give Sita back. It can be any of the Dikpalakas because I have defeated all of them. I have defeated Indra. I have defeated Varuna. I have defeated Yama in the southern region, and I've defeated Kubera. These are the four Dikpalakas. They guard the four directions, and they are powerless in front of me. Who is this human being, Ramachandra? Then Valmiki, very interestingly, calls Ravana Sriman. Huh? How can Ravana be Sriman? Here is the verse, chapter 25. Sabale Sagaram Tirne Rame Dasharathatmaje Amatyau Ravanaha Shriman Abravit Shuka Saranau. So now there are two birds, the two spies. One's name is Shuka, the other's name is Sarana. He's speaking to them. And Valmiki says, Shriman Ravanaha Abravit. Shriman? Why is Ravana Shriman? We'll find out. Let's see if we as an audience can find out. He says, oh, the entire army has crossed the sea, which is impossible to cross. They've made a bridge. Ramachandra directed them to make a bridge, which I think is unprecedented. It has never happened. Abhut apurvam. Abhut apurvam. Apurvam means there's never precedence. Nothing has ever happened like this. There's nothing to compare it with. Apurvam abhut Ramena sagare setubandhanam. I cannot believe it. Sriman is because this is the point. At the first time, he can't say it directly, but there is an appreciation for Ramachandra's power. Up until this time, he discounted Sri Ramachandra as an ordinary human being. But now he's recognizing. Hmm. There are multiple layers of it. One, he's recognizing that he made a mistake. He made a mistake that he underestimated his opponent to such a degree that he didn't even care to keep an eye of what's going on. He just said, they will never make it. That's number one. Second, in that underestimation of his enemy, he has overestimated his own power, and he has a little bit of embarrassment here. Because how is that embarrassment shown? That he is appreciating his opponent. It's Ravana, appreciating someone. Not possible. And third, which is coming up, Ravana wants to hear about the Vanara army. So as soon as there is an interest in hearing the glories of the devotees of the Lord, the person, although really not pure at heart, but just by that slight intention, that a slight interest in hearing about the glories of the devotees, Valmiki gives him the adjective Sriman. So he says to Shuka and Sarana, I want you to go, disguise yourself, and enter the army of Ram and Sugriva, thoroughly study, and come back and tell me what are their strengths and weaknesses. I'm curious how the descendant of Sagar Maharaj was able to build a bridge. I want to know the strength and prowess of Rama, as well as that hero Lakshmana, and what kind of weapons they have. So get everything, study well properly. I want to hear about the monkeys, who they are. So when he ordered them, Shuka and Sarana suddenly took the form of Vanaras and went and penetrated right into Sugriva's army, the other army. The Vanaras could not know that this is somebody in disguise. They appeared like monkeys and they're talking to each other. They are talking among other monkeys, or talking with other monkeys, trying to get information about the strengths and the weaknesses, what they are feeling, what they are thinking. And as Shuka and Sarana are looking there, figuring out that this army is so big that you cannot put a number to it. Sankhyatum nadhyagachetam. You cannot put a number. There's so many of them. And this army had spread itself all outside of Lanka, all over. They were near the waterfalls, they were on the mountains, they were in the gardens, they were in the plains, they were in the bushes, the trees, the rocks, everywhere. Wherever they saw, there were monkeys, and they were all roaring loudly. And the roar was so loud, it was deafening. So they saw, while they are doing their espionage business, someone who belonged to their team is also standing there, Vibhishana. Vibhishana, who was very, very powerful, smart, intelligent, plus knows the tricks of the Rakshasas, recognized Shuka and Sarana very, very quickly. Captured them. Because they're in disguise, he captured them and brought them to Sri Ramachandra. And he said, Rama, here are the two spies or ministers of Ravana. Their names Shuka and Sarana, and they have come from Lanka to spy upon our army. Very quickly, Shuka and Sarana, with folded arms, they saw Ramachandra. Wow, they're so fortunate they get to see Ramachandra. And suddenly they became scared that now that we are captured, we will be killed. So they spoke to Sri Ramachandra with fear. They said, Oh, my dear Sri Ramachandra, O Raghunandana, the son of, or the descendant of the Raghu dynasty. We have come here to study your army, to get to know everything about your army on the order of Ravana. He has sent us here. When Ramachandra heard them, Ramachandra laughed. Ramo Shutva Ramo Dasharathatmajam Vachanam Abravit Prahasan Vakyam. And Ramachandra laughingly said to them, What is the problem? You don't have to worry. Usually, when you catch a spy or spies, then you become worried. Oh, what do they know? Do they know any secrets of our team or army? Ramachandra has no fear. He laughed and he said, यदि द्रष्टुम बलम सर्वम वयम वा सुसमाहिताः यथोक्तं वा कृतं कार्यं छन्दतः प्रतिगम्यताम्. You have you seen everything? Yadi drashtum balam sarvam vayam. Have you seen our strength? Have you seen everything within our army? Yeah, you're satisfied? If you're satisfied, you feel your mission is accomplished. Whenever you want, you can go to your own master Ravana. I'm not going to stop you. Pratigamyatam. Chandatah pratigamyatam. Go at your own wish, at your own will. Okay. But if you feel you've not been able to assess and go through and find out all the details about our army and our strength, if something is remaining, atha kinchid kinchid drashtum va, if there is something that you have not seen, bhuyas tad drashtum arhatah, and you want to see something again, you want to see what is remaining, please. Vibhishana will personally take you and show you everything you want to see. Vibhishano va kartsnena punaha sandarshayishyati. You don't have to go scared through the army. Vibhishana will personally escort you. You ask him what you want to see and he will show you everything. We have nothing to hide. Go for it. Now, if you feel, oh, you've been arrested, you're going to get killed, I want you to know you don't have to be worried. You are not going to be killed. And then Ramachandra turned to all the Vanaras and said to them, these two who are spies of Ravana, they have been walking amongst our army trying to see if there can be some dissent, try to make some, in some sort of say, kalaha, some argument, some sort of division. Don't worry about these two. They can't do anything to us. And then he turned to the Rakshasas and said, when you go back to Lanka and you meet Kubera's half brother Ravana, then I want you to convey my message to Ravana. Oh, Ravana, come on. Come and show me your full strength. Bring your entire army. You think you're strong. You're relying on some strength by which you kidnapped Sita. Show me that strength. Show it to me. Meaning he's challenging Ravana. As soon as the sun rises tomorrow, we will completely trash and break all the walls and gates that are stopping us to enter, and we'll completely come in and destroy your city. I will loosen my arrows that are so powerful that Ravana, just the way Indra releases his thunderbolt weapon, I will release my arrows and they will hit you and your Lanka like flashes of lightning. And he told them, you can go. So very quickly, Shuka and Sarana flew or went back, flew, I don't know, they went back to Ravana. And they went to Ravana and told Ravana, when Vibhishana captured us, Ramachandra set us free because he's a very, very dharmic person and his mind is full of tejas. Now, with with Ramachandra, Lakshmana, Sugriva, Angada, Jambavan, Hanuman, Vibhishana on that party, how is it possible to defeat him? And Ramachandra, and they're like four pillars: Ram, Lakshmana, Sugriva, Vibhishana. It is impossible to defeat them. In fact, we feel Lanka All the walls, the arches, the gates, everything the monkeys are going to plunder. So we're giving you this message that this army of monkeys is impossible to defeat. They're very keen to fight, they're ready, and they're going to come here. So when Ravana heard this, he became even more curious. He took Shuka and Sarana and went to the top of his palace. He went to the terrace. Uh, and Ravana said, hmm, okay, but if the Gandharvas, if the demigods gather together and come to challenge me, even then, there is no question of giving up Sita. I have no fear of the world. There's a saying in Sanskrit, Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi. This is time for Ravana. His death is not far. Uh, so, at this point, again, Valmiki refers to Ravana as Sriman. Arurohatat Sriman Prasadam Hima Panduram. He got up onto the terrace that looked like a snow-capped mountain. And then he surveyed from there the entire army. So the thing is, up until this point, Ravana has not seen Ramachandra. This is the first time he's going to see him. And anybody, even if he's a demon, if he has the darshan of Rama, if he has the darshan of Lakshmana, Hanuman, Sugriva, Vibhishana, and their entire army, such a person is called Sriman. So Ravana is also now fully excited with anger. He wants to fight. He says uh, to them, uh, show me, point to the Vanaras and tell me who's who. What are their strengths? Because how do they look? So one may ask, did Ravana never meet Sugriva? We don't know. He knows that Sugriva is Vali's brother. But here, Shuka and Sarana are pointing. Okay? And they say, the pointing, it says, that person who's now standing at the head of this army, that is Sugriva. And along with Sugriva is Nila. That person who's lifting his arms like this, ready and walking with such strength that the earth is shaking. That person with all this powerful complexion is Angada. And he has been installed or crowned as the head of the army. He is Vali's son and loved by Sugriva and is ready to show his prowess to you because he's protected by Sri Ramachandra. Now, there you see uh, this whole episode of Hanuman coming into Lanka, looking at Sita, destroying our Lanka, putting it on fire. This plan was all devised by Angada. Very, very smart Vanara. Now, around where those armies are surrounded are this very, very strong, behind Angada is Nala. Now, this Nala is the one who built that bridge that they used to cross and come here. Now, each of these monkeys are so powerful and they have their own little team and group. Each of them has 1,000 crores. That is about 1,000 crores is a billion, right? A crore is 10 million. 10 times 1,000, 10,000. So 10 billion. And 800,000 monkeys that are standing with Nala, ready for him to give the order. Then there is Shweta. Again, silver looking. That's why he's got the name Shweta. He has a hue, silver looking hue. And along with him, he used to stay in that Gomati river region. Then there is another personality. His name is Kumuda. And this Kumuda used to roam about the mountainous region and had his own little kingdom. And now he's there with Sugriva. Then there is the monkey called Chanda, who has hundreds of thousands of monkeys with him. He's also eager to fight with you. Oh, then you look at that one who has this brownish hue on him and is looking very strongly, gazing at Lanka. He is from that region of Vindhya, Krishnagiri, Sakhya, and Sudarshana mountains, and his name is Rambha. Not Rambha, um, Nalakuvera's wife, not that Rambha who was molested by Ravana, but Rambha. And look at him, he has 10 million or more bull like monkeys waiting for his order. You see that one? His ears are all perked up and they've become like this because he's waiting. His name is Sharabha. And this Sharabha is so strong that he can put fear in anyone's heart who comes in front of him. Now, under his command, there are more than 100,040 monkeys. They're all called the Viharas. Now, that another gigantic monkey who's staring this way, his name is Panasa. It's very, very difficult to fight in a battle. Then, that place where there's the other monkey who's standing there, he's like a commander. His name is Vinata. And he resembles his shape, his form is as big as a mountain. And he is strong because he's been drinking the water of the river Vena. Under him, he has 6 million monkeys. Then there is Krodhana, powerful monkeys, one after the other. He has 7 million monkeys under him. So, like this, one by one by one, Sukha and Sarana are narrating. Now, there are more monkeys. That's the next chapter, which I don't have time for. We'll do it next time. I must confess to you, Yuddha Kanda is very tough. One, because it's a narration of with detail. So it's very rich. And because it is rich, this is something you have to study on your own. To narrate out every detail is very difficult because there are many, many chapters. And if you go through every detail in shloka, you will never get through. So I'm glossing, but you get the idea of how Shuka and Sarana, although they are spies, they got caught. But by the grace of Sri Ramachandra, they are in Ravana's team, but they are glorifying Ramachandra's team. That's something about Sri Ramachandra is very unique. Friends glorifying Ramachandra is wonderful, it's great, but not so great. When an enemy glorifies Sri Ramachandra, although they have animosity, then it shows the greatness of Ramachandra. Shurpanaka glorified Ramachandra. Vali Although he had this animosity to, because he got shot, he had such glorification of Ramachandra. Tara comes and glorifies Ramachandra. Vibhishana was on this camp, but of course Vibhishana we can't call enemy. But we will see how later there is more. But those who have negativity towards Ramachandra, animosity, even they, when they look at him, they can only speak wonderful things. So Shuka and Sarana will continue their story next week. Any comments, thoughts? Do you have any reflections? I mean, I don't know if there are any questions because there's so much detail. I may have missed some, but it's open. Let's see if you have anything to say.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, done with Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Uh, my question is, Prabhu, just last in the end when you conclude. So, like enemies were also able to glorify Rama, but
Mm.
in general, we see that when someone has some animosity in their heart, it's very difficult to see good qualities in them
Yeah,
and
yeah.
glorify them. So I, either they have some goodness or something. Because of that only they are able to see the good qualities. But in Ravana's, how come Ravana's party, that spy, were able to see and glorify?
Because they experienced the grace of Sri Ramachandra. That is unique. So the dhvani in this is they've never experienced anything like this. There is Ravana, is the commander. They're all obedient to him out of fear. And here they are afraid they might die. Ramachandra laughs and says, I have nothing to hide. If you want to see more, Vibhishna will personally take you, but don't be afraid. We will not kill you. We'll send you away. Go tell Ravana. This is the time of war, and Ramachandra is being very kind because war has not started yet. This is the nature of Sri Ramachandra, that even if someone approaches him with animosity, there is something that he can give grace about. Now, in a general sense, everybody, believe it or not, everybody has some goodness in them. And there are other things too. Everybody has something good in them. It's not possible that in this entire creation there is pure evil. There's always mixture. And it takes to be saintly enough to be able to see that there is something good in the other person. It takes some ability. Now, depending on the situation, sometimes it's not visible. We can only they're something that they have done or said or something, or we have perceived that they have done and said is so big that it eclipses all the good qualities. It's possible. But the when touched by the grace of Sri Ramachandra, which is important, that one in any condition, if they can feel the grace of Ramachandra, then that grace will help see, yes, there is something that is unsavory, but there is something in them. I don't like the person, but there is something nice in them. That's possible. But that requires the touch of Ramachandra's grace.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Mhm.
Wonderful answer. Thank you.
Right. Well, Ramachandra is a wonderful personality. So, anything else? Okay. Going once, twice, thrice.
Ah, Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Sachi Sutadas.
Sachi Sutta Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, you mentioned about Vinasha Kale Viparita Buddhi,
Mm.
right? I'd heard about that. Can you elaborate? And in I mean, I understand that Ravana had the situation, but in in my practical life, if those occurs, how to reconcile that and how to get out from that sooner from that buddhi.
It's a very quick downward spiral.
Mm,
This Vinashakale Viparita Buddhi you can find in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verses 62 and 63. That
mm,
starts with Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsam. Sangasteshu Pajayate. Sangat Sanjayate Kama. That was the presentation, part 2 from
mm,
Hemangi, that there are desires that become attachment, that becomes which is a contemplation becomes our desires, and those desires become the pushing force. And Krishna says, from one thing after another, it happens. Although there are 8 steps in it, but it happens so quickly. One Smriti Vibramsha, Buddhi Nasha. What happens after Buddhi Nasha? Pranashyati. Not Nashyati, he says Pranashyati. He falls. False means at that point, whatever one is carrying or situated on, let's say, spiritual, or there's a connection, that connection with Guru and the Parampara and the Lord breaks. For that moment, it breaks. That is the pranashyati. Until the person reconnects back with the the grace of Guru and the devotees and the Supreme Lord Gauranga, up until that point. So it happens very fast. It happens from the contemplations. Starts there, but it moves very fast. So how to? I wish I can answer you. I'm myself not there, but I can answer theoretically. Theoretically is we refine our contemplations. We refine our desires by so.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah.
Whatever is dhyayato, whatever is the dhyana, from
Mm,
there comes the desires. So whatever you are meditating on, that's what we become attached to. So the point of, I guess, my part of the presentation was, if our meditation is on the sadhu, then our attachment is to the sadhu.
mm.
Like that. So whatever one is meditating on. So that's beyond that, I can't say because I don't have practical realization fully. I mean, there are my highs and there are many of my lows as well. But that's the principle. But one thing I've noticed is whenever I've applied myself to it, it has a different experience. That exercise of the graph,
Ah,
I didn't say because I wanted everyone's realization on it, is that a graph has a high and then it comes down, and from the minima, it goes back up again. And
mm,
if you go back in history, every time from top to bottom, when it has happened that the graph comes down, at that point, the connection with the sadhu has either weakened or broken.
mm.
And only when it is reconnected that the graph goes back up. That's just the nature of how it works.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. That's very helpful. And I have some other follow-up question. I will connect with you later on this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Nice questions. Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much for being here. I'm grateful to you. You take your time off on Saturdays and you come, you attend. And some of you can't attend in person, but you take the time to hear it on YouTube later. I may not have expressed to you directly, but I want you to know that I'm extremely grateful to you for giving me this opportunity to share little lessons and insights, reading of the verses of Ramayana. I'm very grateful to all of you for your kindness that you show me. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Sita Rama Lakshman Hanuman ji ki